Thankful Friday indeed. Hello and thank you for joining us from wherever you are. We're coming to you live from our studios here in Kokomlemle on digital address GA09925539. Our top stories this hour. 32 arrested as personnel of the counter-terrorism unit of the Ghana Police Service and other security agencies go on what they describe as a high-risk emergency operation. We are on the ground in Mepe, Aveyime, Juapon and Akuse as they look to retrieve weapons and vehicles stolen by rioting men believed to be members of the separatist group, the Homeland Steady Group Foundation. Lawyers for Kennedy Japan failed to stop court proceedings on grounds of fairness as their client pleads not guilty to the charge of contempt. More as a video in which he insults a judge is played in court. And counting the impact at 25, today the multimedia group looks back at its influence from elections to national policies on health education as we unveil our 25th anniversary cloth as part of our year-long celebration of media excellence. Join us on DSTV 421, GoTV 144. We are streaming live on YouTube and on Facebook. You can join us with your thoughts on 0540-109-009. My name is Gifty Andopia. This is The Pulse. Please be my guest. Personnel of the counter-terrorism unit of the Ghana Police Service and other security agencies are on what they describe as a high-risk emergency operation in the Volta region to retrieve weapons, 2 vehicles and other items stolen by men believed to be members of the separatist group, the Homeland Steady Group Foundation. The suspects reportedly stormed the Aveyime and Mepe police stations singing songs of liberation and supposed independence from Ghana. They subsequently attacked the Tongu Divisional Commander and his driver, who has since been transferred to Accra for medical treatment. Maxwell Agbagba is there and sent these visuals. So these are videos that Maxwell Agbagba brought to us from the Volta region. This is supposed to be the police station where the members, as believed to be those of the Homeland Group, attacked this station and vandalized this particular police stations. So these are visuals that Maxwell has sent through from the Volta region. And Maxwell indeed is embedded with it, anti-terrorism, counter-terrorism unit of the Ghana Police Service in the Volta region, and he brought these visuals. So this is how they apparently took over streets in the Volta region. They blocked both the entry and exit routes into the region, leaving hundreds of travelers stranded in the early hours of today.
This is the Sogakope barrier. Immediately you cross the bridge. This is it. All the cars from the Aflau stretch or the Sogakope township headed towards Accra have had to park. They have had to park because ahead of them, Dover, Kotame area, that is where the Western Overland guys have blocked the road. So no car is able to proceed beyond the barrier, which is just before the bridge. I've spoken with a few guys and they have indicated that the police are even helpless. The police do not want to disperse the crowd by shooting anyone. So they are just watching them do their own thing. But the video you see now, so you can see the cars. The video you see now is at the Sogakope barrier. So if you can see, it's a very long stretch. So this is the Sogakope barrier. This position here is chaotic. All the cars from Aflawu, Akachi, Joje.
So thanks to David Osabute, who was a traveler that got stranded. He sent us that video with a description of what exactly was happening there. Like I said, Maxwell Agbagba is embedded with the counter-terrorism unit of the Ghana Police Service on the ground for us. Let's get on Zoom and have a conversation with Maxwell. Maxwell.
Yeah, hello, Gipsy.
Maxwell, tell us where you are at the moment. We know that the personnel of the counter-terrorism unit of the service are with you right now, and you have been able to get to places where ordinarily media, etc., wouldn't be able to get. What is the situation on the ground right now?
Well, Gipsy, right behind me is the Avdaima police station where the men actually raided. And if you go in there right now, you see the vandalized police station. They destroyed a lot of items. You're told that they carried away exhibits that were at the police station. Some weapons also there at the police station were carried away. We are told that 2 vehicles, one owned by the Tong Divisional Commander, was also taken away by the group that stormed this police station, the Avdaima police station. Just about 1 hour, 2 hours ago, we were at the Bator hospital where the Tong Divisional Commander was actually taken to himself and then his driver. They were in a critical condition. So they were taken to the hospital and they were later transported to Accra for further treatment. Now, all the people you see here, just to give you a sense of what is happening here in this community of Avdaima, all these police vehicles are filled with armed men. And we just came back from what they call a confidence, building patrol. And the commander for the team lead here, actually described this as a high-risk emergency operation to retrieve the weapons that have been stolen, to also retrieve the cars that have been stolen. So we are told that this is not ending here. Just after that patrol, that patrol in Avdaima and its adjoining communities, we came back to the Avdaima police station where we've actually seen some military men also there. Here from the Navy, we've seen quite a number of crowd control vehicles also here. At this point, this road has become more or less like a checkpoint here, right in front of the police station. So any member of the community who is stepping out, the police officers here make sure they check the cars to ensure that suspects do not get out of the town. So that's what we're doing. You understand that we are going to another location where they'll be looking out for the suspect. But as it stands now, nobody has been arrested yet. But you can see the team here on the ground, the counter-terrorism unit police officers. We have the Navy also here. It tells you about the extent of the operation. So this is what is happening here.
Okay. Maxwell, so you talked about the things that were carried or that were taken away, is essentially stolen by the people who were rioting. Can you give us an idea of the weaponry we're talking about here? There are 2 vehicles, you've established that. But do we have an idea of the weaponry they're looking for now?
Wait, can you come again? Do we have an idea of
the weaponry? What are they looking for in terms of the weapons that were taken away?
What are they looking for?
In terms of the weapons, are they guns, AK-47 rifles? What exactly did they take away in terms of the weapons that were taken away from the police station?
Okay, well, Gipsy, we're unable to tell because the security personnel here would not give us any details. It's really difficult getting information. So we are unable to tell the specifics of the weapons that were carried away. Information, we don't have a lot of information here. A lot of them are tight-lipped, unwilling to give us information, but cooperating with us and giving us the needed protection on the ground. But what we know right now is that some weapons were carried away, but we do not know the specifics of the weapons.
Very well. You say that you went, you just finished a confidence-building patrol, or what they are calling a confidence-building patrol. How are people within this area receiving such patrols or such presence of military and police force?
Well, a lot of them, when we are going, I mean, on the side, they stand on the side of the road, and when they see the police personnel and the military personnel, you see some of them waving, some of them saluting them. We are told that if you speak to the residents here, many of them who I spoke to told me that they do not know the people who stormed the Azayima police station. The people who live around here who tell them that they do not know the people who stormed this place, but they know when they came, they had guns and they were firing shots and they were beating people, assaulted the police officers, here at this particular police station. So really, if you speak to them, they tell you that they do not endorse any idea of separating, from Ghana, or so-called independence from Ghana. But I'm told that some of them, if you think that part of the country has not properly, developed, so-called, they've not had their fair share of the national cake, so-called, and they will open up to you and tell you that yes, indeed, they think that they need to get their independence from Ghana. But majority of the people here really do not endorse any push for separation or independence from Ghana.
So I think I lost you briefly at a point, but if I can summarize what I think I heard you say, you're saying that when you interact with the residents in this area, they say they don't know who those people who stormed the police station are. They are not people who are known to them within this particular area, but they also indicates that they feel they have not had their fair share of the national cake. Nonetheless, they don't really support secessionism. Is that what you said, Maxwell?
Exactly, Gipsy.
Right.
Exactly. So if you speak to them, they tell you they do not endorse any attempt to separate or get their independence from Ghana. But they feel that in terms of resource distribution, in terms of getting their own share of the national cake, they do not have it. And that is why they think that some of their people will be, aggrieved and be acting in such manner, Gipsy.
Right. Maxwell, this is my final question. I see that you're still on the move, so I'll let you go. But my final question is, were there any persons being kept in the custody of the police officers who were vandalized or whose offices were vandalized today? Were there any people in custody at the time?
Yes, Gipsy. We know that there were some people in custody. They were actually freed by the group that came here. So if you go to the police station, you see the empty cells. You see, the officers have been vandalized, television sets, and all of those things. So yes, indeed, we have information that there were people in the cells who were freed. There are suspects in the cells who were freed. And the team on the ground is also looking out for those people.
Okay. What it means is that we don't know where those people are at the moment.
Yes, we do not know where they are at the moment.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Maxwell. We'll be back to you as and when. Maxwell Agbagba there is embedded with the counter-terrorism team in Mepe and Azayima areas there. They have been going on what Maxwell says they call a confidence-building patrol. Let's go to Dwapong. But before that, let me announce that we have Colonel Festus Abuaje, who is a security analyst, joining us via Zoom, so we can talk about this afterwards and after we've established the story from our correspondent. Colonel, thank you so much for your time. Good afternoon to you.
Benjamin, you hear me?
Okay, we'll get to Colonel, but just right, there he is. Colonel, thank you very much for your patience. We'll get back to you shortly. Let me go to Dwapong. My colleague Kofi Sian is reporting that about 20 persons over there have been arrested by the combined police and military team that was deployed there. Kofi, what is the latest as we speak? Hello, Kofi, do you hear me? Right, Kofi Sian doesn't seem to be hearing me, but just so you know, he is reporting to us from Dwapong. We'll be going to Akuse shortly, but he is reporting to us from Dwapong, where he says 20 people have been arrested. We know that some of them have been brought to Accra. We'll be getting more information on that as well. But let's try and reach out to Kofi once again. Hello, Kofi, do you hear me? Kofi, if you can unmute. It looks like you're talking, but I can't hear you. Unmute and let's see if we can hear you. Hello, Kofi Sian.
Hello, Gipsy.
Great, I hear you. So we know that 20 people have been picked on your side by a joint police and military team. What is the latest right now?
Okay, so that is the information we had in the morning before I proceeded to Japan, where I am currently are. But what we are hearing is that the 20 people who were arrested, according to the military officer, the leader of the military team here, have been airlifted from Japan to Accra, a military base in Accra. So that is the information we are gathering from the grounds here at Japan. First, we heard they were taken to O, but information we had is that they moved them from Japan, where we are now, to Accra in the Greater Accra region.
Us up to speed on exactly what happened earlier this morning before the arrest. What was the situation like in Japan?
Okay, when I got here, I realized that the people infested that.
Let's listen to the conversations that Kofi has been having with some of the residents there.
And I saw soldiers arrest them. They are 3. And one of my sister's son too. They are just watching TV in the room before the catch them. So we plead, they refuse. So they send them to home. The soldiers. They are in one of my sister's room here. So they go there and I don't know what they do. They didn't tell us anything. They are just sucking the police soldiers. They are just sucking us. And I asked one of us, if you look at me only, I'm not doing anything to catch my son. So I beg. They said, oh, I should enter the room. I should enter home. And I in their car, that Gunja car, like this one.
So Kofi spoke to this woman earlier today. Kofi, if you're still there, let's try this once again. This resident seems to say that the officers just went to his son's room and arrested him. I wanted a bit of clarity on that, but it looks like I've lost Kofi, which is fine. We'll get more of that subsequently. But JoyNews editor Fresh Smith, who is also a member of the security desk, has been in the Akuse area where some arrests were made as well.
Here at the Pon hydroelectric dam of the VRA, we heard about the disturbances this morning at Sugakope and Sujaman areas. We understand that the secessionist group came very close to the Pon hydroelectric dam and bent tires not too far from the exit point of the dam. As I speak to you, the Energy Minister John Peter Amewu himself is here, and he's been given briefing not too far from where I'm reporting from. But there's heavy security, as you can see behind me, the Fawn Police Unit over there, and right from Akuse into the dam site itself, there are many checkpoints mounted there with lots of military men, some of them in their military vehicles, fully armed and looking out for any troublemaker. About 20 minutes ago, a man who was riding a motorbike and was spotting a flag that looks like that of the secessionist group was arrested by the military persons who were manning the post not too far from where I'm reporting from. Hello, Chief. Where are you from?
Mother, put the bag there and talk to them.
Where are you from?
From where are you? Leave the phone on now. Put the phone on now. You want to use the mic?
I'll pick from here. It's okay. Boss, where are you from?
I'm from Akuse.
You live here at Akuse?
Yes.
Okay. Where are you going?
I'm going
to that side. Why do you have this flag? What is that flag for? Boss, who put the flag there? Is it you? You did. Where did you get it from? Where did you get it from? Do you know that's the flag of the secessionist group? Do you know? Do you understand what I'm saying? What language do you speak? Ewe. Who speaks? Who can speak Ewe?
Oba anyaweta the flag here. Flag here no amoya ojibo no dakola Ghana fia.
Where
yeah, America now flag. Ye ojibo no nya, but America now flag here. Na kodale moto wajibo.
What do you do?
Doka wamnala.
Oh, Okada wala
Okada wamnala.
What's his name?
Nkode. Maulu nuka. Ahumble.
Well, is that correct? Ahumble. Okay.
Fika yimnala.
Okay. All right. Thank you. That person has been taken away as I speak to you. Live from Akuse, this is Fred Smith.
So that's Fred Smith there engaging this gentleman who seems to have this flag that looks like the flag that this group has been using. Fred has been talking to him. Well, the Akuse Police Commander, Chief Superintendent Asawenyako, has also been giving us some updates on this in Akuse.
Today around 3 o'clock, we gathered intelligence that there were a group of people who had besieged the dam, and they were saying that the dam belonged to them, so they had taken over. We didn't know the kind of people who were there, so immediately police, we proceeded to the place. We met about 6 of them initially. When they were questioned, we were told that they are from Western Togoland and that this place where the dam is belongs to them, and for that matter they are taken over from Ghana government. In fact, looking at them, we saw that they were very aggressive and they are likely to be armed. So police were able to talk to them, speak to them, and then drove them out of the dam. As we were going to the other side of the dam, we met another group of them, more than 20, so 20 plus 6 is about 26 to 30. We saw that they had blocked the way at the other side from the Volta region, that is for reinforcement, and even before the reinforcements arrived, we were able to drive them out and then quench the fire. So far now, the situation is very calm. We have so many of reinforcement, the military and the police from the headquarters and the region, and now we are doing patrols. The situation is calm.
Any arrests?
So far, no arrest was made in the morning. We just saw somebody with a motorbike and then they're carrying the flag of the Western Togoland. He's been arrested and he's being questioned.
In the morning, we heard that they exchanged gunfire with our police in Sogakope. I don't know what was the situation here. Was there anything like that?
For here, there was no exchange of gunshots. There was nothing like firing here.
Confirm to us or not, was there an attack on the facility here?
No, there was no attack. As initially when they were entering, we were told they took a mobile phone from one of the private security officers who was at the gate. We were able to retrieve them.
That's the commander there speaking to Inakusi, speaking to Fresh Smith, who is editor here and also a member of the security desk. Let's have a conversation about this. On Zoom is Colonel Festus Abuaje, retired. He's a member of the Council on Foreign Relations Ghana. He's also a security expert. Colonel, thank you so much for your patience once again. I think you're muted. If you can unmute for us, then we can hear you. But whilst Colonel unmutes, I also have here in the studio Adib Sani. He's a security analyst, executive director of Jatike Center. Adib, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Okay. So, Colonel, are you unmuted now?
Yes, I can hear you.
Great.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. So this developing story has been unfolding since morning. We're told that some arrests have been made. If you put it all together, we're looking at somewhere between 31 and 32. Some of them have been brought here to Accra and will be crossing over to the Air Force Base where they were brought. Our correspondents are there to talk to them as well. But what do you see from where you stand? I mean, what's your assessment of the situation as of now?
Well, the internet was misbehaving.
It looks better now.
If you're asking me what I make of this,
yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I do. Please go ahead.
Yeah. The omens are not good. And we all need to continue to be worried about this secessionist problem. We can trace today's event all the way to, if you like, 2017, when it started evolving. And it has, in a way, intensified through a number of different activities. Hoisting of flags, placement of signages, declaring certain places as being within the bounds of Western Togoland. One of the critical ones being the establishment of a training base. You know, then you have the radio station that used to be at Sogakope, which was closed down twice, I believe. So all of these things are signs that I believe should concern all of us. Now, for some strange reason, we know more about this group than what the government is telling us as to what it knows about this group, and indeed what it is doing precisely to resolve the issue. And that kind of disconnect, is not good for whatever campaign strategy that the government wants to evolve. The government has not spoken to Ghanaians. And anytime we hear about an incident like today's incident, it is what we're reading in the media, multimedia, TV3, other radio stations. What is the government doing about this situation? Then, of course, the people who have been brought here, if they are released tomorrow or day after, whatever it is, we will get to know, not because the government has spoken to us, but because the media has published that story. What exactly is going on? And how is the government dealing with the situation? These are two questions that the government needs to address.
Okay.
First of all, to seize the initiative in terms of the information campaign, and then to get the support of all Ghanaians, behind its cause, which we can discuss,
Further. Very well. Very well. Colonel, thank you very much for that. Adib, let me come to you. You have already issued an article. You've sent it through an article, published an article that is saying, or that is demanding a resignation of the National Security Minister. Colonel here has raised the same concern about how government doesn't seem to be talking to the people. Since morning, I'm sure there has been some kind of response or reaction to the article you posted today.
Well, I've received a number of calls from highly placed sources who sought to find out why do I even have to call for the resignation of the National Security Minister. But my issues are very consistent with those issues that has been raised by my senior colleague, Colonel Festus. This issue has been simmering for some time now. We have failed to address it the way it should be. And I'm particularly gobsmacked by the fact that we seem not to be learning lessons from other jurisdictions. Boko Haram didn't start as an arms insurrection. Unfortunately, the Nigerian authorities didn't handle it well. And today, Boko Haram is not posing an existential threat to only Nigeria, but the whole West African subcontinent. Talk about the English speakers in Cameroon wanting their Republic of Ambazonia. It started all like a joke. And we can talk about the northern Malians, the Tuaregs, and other Bedouin Arab tribes wanting their Republic of Azawad. It all starts like a joke. I remember when this issue started somewhere in 2017, I listened to some people even joking, about the fact that Papa V is old and frail with that walking stick. But from years of industrial expertise in areas of this nature, I have also personally researched and written a lot about secessionist movements. And I juxtaposed the early warning signs with that of Ghana. And trust me, I knew from day one that we are sitting on a ticking time bomb. Unfortunately, when we spoke about it, some called us doomsayers, doommongers, others called us naysayers. But I do know the implications this can pose to this country. And it is quite obvious the group has become more audacious, they've become more brazen. In the past, they have made strong political statements, like Colonel rightly mentioned, the hoisting of flags, the mountain of signages, and still, we seem not to get it right, okay? But today, see, they are taking over towns. And the next minute, I pray it doesn't get to that stage. But it is with a heavy heart for me to say that the next target might be our critical infrastructure. And it's particularly that because, you see, Accra to Japan is about 100 kilometers. And when you look at the whole stretch all the way through Atimpoku, there's no military detachment there. Okay, and we have, most interestingly, a lot of critical infrastructure. So you can imagine, now that they're going after police stations, the next minute they go after the dams, they go after the bridges. That would pose a much more serious issue to us than we can comprehend. It's interesting that you make that statement, because I want to bring Colonel in, and I want us to look at, I'm not sure it is a strategy. Oh, it looks like we've lost him. I'm not sure it is a strategy, what happened today. But if you look at what the places that we're reporting from, my colleague Fred Smith was reporting from the hydroelectric dam area in Akuse. They went to, some of them were also arrested in Japan, and they were talking about the Volta region. And in the Volta region, what I'm learning is that the area where this started is quite close to a military military, so I wouldn't want to say military base, more like a military post as well. So I wanted us to speak to, since Kiano has been more in the military, wanted to get his thoughts on that one. But I'll come back to you, Adib. Let's go to Kwesi Parker Wilson, who is joining me from the Air Force Base, where those who were arrested were brought through that area, airlifted, of course. Parker, what can you report? Okay, Parker, let's have you unmuted. Let's have you unmuted on that device, and then we'll get back to you. So Parker is trying to get us what is happening at the Air Force Base now, where those were arrested, exactly. So those are some of the visuals that Kwesi Parker Wilson is bringing us from the Air Force Base. These are some of the people. We're looking at about 30 of them who have been arrested. They were airlifted from where they were arrested to this particular place, and Parker is standing by to give us more information. What more can we learn about these people and what is happening there? But Adib, let me take your thoughts on what you're seeing right now. You see, that is the firefight approach we've used over the years, and it's not helping. We should go beyond the arrest. When you say firefighting approach? Yes, we wait until things spiral out of control. Then you see us running helter-skelter, looking for solutions, so-called confidence-building patrols and all that. But there are underlying issues that we are failing to address. As a matter of fact, you see, you cannot arrest everybody there. Let us target the leaders. Let us target the inflows. Let us collaborate in a much more progressive manner with the Togolese authorities. Because, mind you, these guys have a geographical advantage, okay? They have a thick forest cover, and they can easily, run into the neighboring country, and under international law, we wouldn't be obliged to follow them there. But when there's collaboration, that can help to a large extent.
Okay, so I wanted us to talk about, you mentioned another thing which sounds to me like strategy of a group that really wants to sort of take over, and they have their strategy. Well, you talk about where they hide or where they are placed in a thick forest. Let's look at what happened today. Do you see any strategy at play here in terms of where they are based? First of all, in a thick forest today, we're looking at the hydroelectric dam area in Akuse, and then we're looking at what happened in Japan. Of course, there's that bridge that you mentioned as well, and then the Volta region where we're saying that it is close to a military post, the brazenness, of course. Do you see any strategy at play?
Yes,
here?
There's a strategy right from day one. And trust me, despite the fact that the security agencies are now in control of the situation, it is safe to say that the Togolanders have succeeded on this occasion, because they've succeeded in disrupting public life. They've succeeded in taking the country hostage. They've succeeded in carving and directing the narrative, because you and I are sitting here talking about it, and it's giving them more legitimacy. Okay. That is exactly what they aim to achieve.
Right. I'm going to come back to you. I just need to get quickly to Parker, because before we lose him, technology always has its own ways. Parker, I can see you clearly now. Do tell us what is happening where you are.
All right. So, Gifty, just behind me is the aircraft, which landed just about 20 minutes ago, where 15 suspected members of the Homeland Study Group, or those you want to call the Western Togoland, came. Now, the military men and the police officials asked them to sit on the floor here where they were seated, and then they got all their particulars. They were asked of their names, they searched their bags, and Gifty, interestingly, some of the people had the new voters ID card with them. And the question the media was asking is, these individuals are asking for some independence for the voter region, and yet the new registration, they went to register for the new voters ID card. So right from here, they moved them to the military and police track, where they got them on board, and now we are told that they are being taken to the BNI head office. That is where they are going to interrogate them. Now, Gifty, these individuals are 31. 31.
Okay.
I only counted one female, and the rest are 30 men. And so 30 men, one female. We are told by the official here that all of them were arrested at Japan. Only one person was picked up at Akuse. So these are the information we picked up on the ground at the Air Force Base. And the officials here tell me that they cannot speak on record because they haven't been authorized to speak on the matter. But of course, when we go to the BNI headquarters, they can give us the access to have the interview with the officials in charge of this operation. So if you're asking what is happening here, unfortunately, the people have moved to the BNI office. That's why you can't see them. But this is the aircraft, the helicopter that brought them in just about 20-25 minutes ago.
Okay, Parker, I'll leave you to it whilst you look for more information for us from the BNI as you head towards them. And hopefully, perhaps we'll be able to talk to some of these people as well. Also, Parker, thank you. Kwesi Parker Wilson, they're coming to us live from the Air Force base, where those arrested, 31 of them, Parker says, have been brought in. It's interesting, the people involved here, it says 31 of them, only one is female. The last time they were arrested, those who were said to be training in the forest were arrested. There was also one female. Now, those people we heard were let go, and we'll be getting some background on that from our court correspondent, what happened with their case so far. But do let me, when we have the Colonel joining us, you were talking about the strategy. You say that it is clear and obvious that there is a kind of strategy at play here. They've succeeded, you say, in disrupting public life, creating that unnecessary traffic in that area. Also, you say they have directed the narrative, which is the point that Akene also makes.
Exactly. And interestingly, one of the means they are using is propaganda. They are appealing to the conscience of the people in that area.
How do you think they are doing that?
They take advantage of local grievances. As a matter of fact, they are riding on the back of local grievances to get some level of community support for their cause. And trust me, largely they have succeeded to a very large extent, because they've succeeded in letting some individuals within that community think that they've been marginalized, their identity has been questioned. That's why sometimes when I see us reducing politics to tribalism, it aches my heart, because I do know the implications of tribal politics, no matter how petty it is. One of the issues that culminated into the Rwandan genocide was the fact that a lot of Hutus felt, the Tutsi women felt they were more beautiful and they were seductresses. I mean, you can imagine how pedestrian that is. But that is a serious issue. So we should really, as a matter of patriotism, eschew the politics of tribalism, because it is working in favor of this group. And once you have the community supporting them, they give them cover, they give them protection, and it will be extremely difficult to nip it in the bud.
Okay, talking about community support. Now, this group has been operating for some time now. We'll give you a little bit of a background to this group and how they've been operating. They were arrested at some point, but like Adepia is saying, their leader, who is very old, I think in his 80s, they were released. The last time we had a conversation on this, we couldn't really find out his whereabouts. We didn't know his whereabouts. But court correspondent Joseph Akable is joining me via Zoom. Joseph will refresh our memory on their case so far. Joseph, tell us.
Hello, Gifty.
Yeah. So let's go through the background. You know, give us an idea how the case involving this particular group has traveled over the period.
And so we are limiting ourselves to just from March of 2017. And since March 2017, there have been series of arrests. The trend has been the same. They are arrested mostly in the Volta region where they operate. They are then taken to Accra or put before the courts there. Afterwards, they are either granted bail or the state drops the case against them. And so that has been a trend. And so first, in March 2017, 3 members of the group led by Charles Komi Kujoji, who was at the age of 78 in 2017, who is the founder of the group, and there was also 57-year-old Martin Esiama Agbenu and Divine Odonko, who is also 65 years old. These 3 individuals were arrested in March 2017. They were charged with treason. In July of 2017, the state dropped the charges against them, but the judge warned that it should be of good behavior when he was discharging them, as the state had requested that they are no longer interested in prosecuting this particular matter. Then in May of 2019, 9 members were arrested. Once again, they were charged with treason in the Volta region and subsequently brought to Accra. In fact, they were taken to a circuit court in the Volta region. The court declined jurisdiction. The state now transferred them to Accra, where they were put before the High Court. And for a serious offense of treason, 3 judges of the High Court were assembled to sit on this particular matter. In July of 2019, so after they were arrested in May 2019, and 9 of them were brought to Accra, and in July of 2019, the state once again dropped their charge against them. The interesting thing about this is, even before the state dropped their charge against them, the judge had warned that he was unhappy about how the state was handling the case, because since May, when they were brought to the court, the state had been asking for adjournment, and so he had warned that at the next date, if they are not ready to proceed to the case, they need to take a decision and let these individuals go. And the point that the prosecutor had made was that they are still gathering the evidence and they are putting their house together and they will at the right time make all the evidence available and enable the case to progress. Then in July, when the case returned to court, this time around the state says it doesn't intend to continue with the case again. So they discharged these 9 individuals. Now in November 2019, the police mounted a manhunt for Papavi, the leader of the group, Charles Komi Kujoji. This was after he had released a video recording in which he declared the area independent. And so the police were on a manhunt for him. He has not been arrested to date. And so still in November, the Homeland Group, another group, emerges again to declare independence few meters from the police regional training school in the Volta region. And so that was also an issue of worry. Then in February 2020, if you recall, the 21 individuals who were arrested while training in the forest in K2 that you made reference to. These are 21 persons who were arrested in February 2020. Then in March 2020, the state once again, after transferring them to Accra and putting them before the circuit court, the state drops the charges against them once again. Then in September 2020, signposts begin to emerge in parts of the country, in the eastern region and also in the Volta region. This is a signpost welcoming people into the Western Togo land area. The police pulled down the signpost and they again mounted a manhunt for the individuals who mounted these signages, and so they've not been able to arrest anyone yet with regards to that. So that is how the matter has traveled from March 2017 till September 2020. So the record is that there has not been a single prosecution that has been followed through. There hasn't been a single conviction. All we've had is arrest and leveling charges and discontinuing the cases against these individuals.
Joseph, thank you very much. Comprehensively put together once again. Joseph Akable is our court correspondent. So he takes you through what has happened and he identifies for you the trends. He says there hasn't been any prosecution. The cases are consistently dropped when they are arrested and they are let go. And then the signs you say were clear to us. But what do you make of that trend? They are arrested. What did you say is somehow also a strategy to be able to let these people get out there so you can follow them, you can trace them and get the necessary information that could help you foil their plans?
I strongly doubt, because our intelligence gathering so far as this Western Togoland issue is concerned has been extremely abysmal. We've reduced it all to arrest. Arrest is just like 10% of the solution to what is going on. As a matter of fact, there's no longer even a solution. We can only manage it. But you see, in conflict analysis and mediation, we use a number of theories. We have the pillar theory, we have the pin theory, that is the position, interest, need theory, that you use to make sense of a situation, appreciate it, and deal with it from the root causes. It's just like a farmer getting rid of weeds on his farm. Does he just trim the top? No, you uproot it. But on this occasion, we've only succeeded in trimming the top. And the next minute, we'll be back to talking about this issue again. There are legitimate fundamental issues we are actually failing to look at, so far as this is concerned. Gifty, there are national security operatives in every single metropolitan, municipal, and district assembly area in Ghana. But largely, they lack the skills set. They lack the equipment to be able to gather not just actionable intelligence, but interpret the intelligence real time and disseminate the intelligence to the appropriate authorities to take action real time. Unfortunately, that has not been so. I listened to the Volta regional minister who said, but for intelligence, it could have been worse. But the people were able to buzz other people from other areas. So what is the use of intelligence? Intelligence is to preempt and prevent, mostly. That is how it's supposed to be.
But he's saying that they have, I mean, there's something that it could have been worse, like you said. But then it means what we're seeing is as a result of the work they have done in the background, if what the minister said is anything to go by.
If they had done a good job, we wouldn't have gotten to this stage. There are many issues within that area. Apart from the fact that the intelligence officers are not capacitated enough, they lack the equipment, they lack the skill set, because every single day, these issues, transnational intrastate security changes. Yesterday's insecurity is not as today. Okay, these people are getting the support of the communities. What do? Let us also invest in human security. Let us ensure that certain basic necessities of life is catered for. Because what these secessionists do is, you see, there's been a budget, they forgot voter roles, and they ride on some of these lapses. I do know there are a number of interventions. We have the youth employment, you have the NAPCO, you know, one district, one factory, etc. But I think we need to invest more so we counteract the arguments, the propaganda these guys are using to conveniently recruit more people to support their cause. If not, we might be met, worst case scenario, with an asymmetrical situation where a state is against a non-state actor, they hit, they retreat into the bush, and it is usually a very difficult war to win, considering what is going on in Nigeria. Nigeria has the strongest military in terms of numbers, in terms of logistics in West Africa. But don't you ask yourself, how come they can't just, you know, decimate Boko Haram? Because it's an asymmetrical situation, which is usually extremely difficult to win, like the case of Vietnam between 1965 and 75. Between now and we're wrapping up with this, unfortunately, we've not been able to raise a Colonel budget, but we'll try that. But also, we'll have a lengthy conversation about this much later this evening here on JoyNews. So between now and say next week, what are your expectations of feasible expectations of what our security agencies
ought to do as we deal with this particular issue?
First, we have to build confidence. So I welcome the confidence building patrols. We have to let the people understand government is still largely in charge. Immediately, we have to get in touch and collaborate effectively with the Togolese authorities, because my initial assessment points to the fact that there's cross-border activities, including the trafficking of small arms and light weapons to oil the seeming war machine these guys are putting together. We should also really look at intelligence gathering in the area, train our intelligence officers so we are able to gather actionable intelligence which is disseminated to appropriate authorities in real time. And most importantly, Gifty, let us invest in human security. Since the removal of General Nunu Mensah retired as the boss of the the Human Security Directorate at the National Security Secretariat. Trust me, it's been almost defunct. We think security is all about the militarized posture, but it is important to give hybridity some level of leverage. Let us go beyond just militarizing and concentrate on human security so you don't have these people filling in the vacuum and getting the communities to be part of that, process. So
dealing with the softer side of all of these, winning the hearts and the minds of the people as against, like what he's saying, getting in firefighting when it becomes worse. This short time will allow us for this particular conversation, but like I'm saying, we're planning on having a lengthier conversation. We'll talk to you more about that. But Ibrahim, thank you so much for coming. Adib Sani is security analyst, executive director of Jatike Center. We also had Colonel Festus Abwaje, who joined us via Zoom. We've lost him, unfortunately. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you very much for coming.
Gifty.
You're still watching The Pulse with me, Gifty and Dopia. How about we do a very quick break here? We'll be right back. When we come back, we'll have a lot more stories, including the fact that lawyers for MP Kennedy Agyapong failed to stop a court proceeding on grounds of fairness as their client pled guilty to the charge, not guilty, I beg your pardon, to the charge of contempt. We'll tell you more about that one when we come back. Do stay with us. Welcome back to the show. Many thanks for staying with us. Now, Asin Central MP Kennedy Agyapong has pleaded not guilty to the charge of contempt of court leveled against him. This was after a video recording of him criticizing a High Court judge was played in court. The MP was heard in the video describing a judge as, quote, stupid, foolish, and an animal. His lawyers had attempted to halt proceedings as they informed the judge that they had raised issues of fairness of the court proceedings with the Chief Justice. That did not succeed as the case progressed. Court correspondent Joseph Akable reports.
The MP has petitioned the Chief Justice on the matter and also filed an application at the High Court seeking to restrain the judge from proceeding. His lawyers explained Justice Wuni took a position on the matter when he last appeared before him on September 18. They informed the court of this petition, but Justice Wuni opted to proceed with the case. The charge of contempt of court was read against the MP, who pleaded not guilty. The court then played a video recording in which the MP used words like stupid and foolish against the judge. There was deafening silence at the High Court as the recording played for well over 5 minutes. The MP's lawyers then requested an adjournment to respond to the case against him. A member of the legal team, Afenya Markin, has been speaking to pressmen.
We've made our position clear in open court. We have also made clear to the court that we have invoked the supervisory jurisdiction of the Supreme Court in this matter. We've also drawn the court's own attention to a motion we have filed before it, which motion is for stay of proceedings. And the registrar of the same court has given us a 12 October as a return date. All these we disclosed to the court, and the court considered having notice of same. So that is where we stand. The Supreme Court made a clear position on the law, disclosure, and Article 19, that in such trials there must be the evidence to be relied upon by the prosecution made available to the accused, so the defendant can the defense can prepare adequately. So I am satisfied with the engagement so far. Fortunately, there is mutual respect between the bar and the bench. It is not a banter. And you never know. Some of these cases, at the end of the day, you may get emotional about it, but no, we are not emotional about it. We are looking for resolving the vexed matters.
The case has been adjourned to Monday, September 28th for continuation.
Joseph Akablay with that report there. We'll bring you more on that. Let me take you now to Cape Coast. You know yesterday what happened there. The NDC parliamentary candidate for the Cape Coast North constituency has been now given his card, but he's rejected it. According to the leadership of the party, the candidate on the face of the record still stands disqualified, and until the earlier information about him is deleted and a fresh registration is allowed, they will not be satisfied. Supporters of the NDC in the constituency earlier massed up at the premises of the Electoral Commission. Let's get on the phone now and speak to Richard Kojo Nyako. Hello, Richard.
Hi, Gifty.
Yesterday wasn't very pleasant. Today wasn't either. Bring us up to speed on what happened.
Well, so the latest is that the candidate this morning was given the card that was withheld by the Electoral Commission. And so he acknowledged receipt of the card, but says that, well, if the card stands this way, then it means that he will not be able to use the card. This is because the name is not on the voters list. His name is still on the exceptions list. And now the exceptions list is being marked disqualified. And so he does not find his name on the voters list, which means that he will not be able to file his nomination when the EC finally opens the process for them to file. So they have prevailed on the Electoral Commission, even though he has a card, he's prevailed on the Electoral Commission to carry out the court order. The court order, he indicates, says that the court is compelling the EC to register him. But as to what the registration is, the EC would have to provide further details. And so the Electoral Commission regional officer asked them to put what they want to say into writing so that it could be forwarded to the national headquarters. Then other conversations would follow. And so, but the party folks here say that they would not go away until the right thing is done, until the name that is in the system is effectively, corrected to appear on the voting list, so that when he goes to file for his nomination, there wouldn't be any hindrances on the way, or the name that is currently there that has a lot of issues, it would be deleted, and then a fresh registration would have to carry out for Dr. Kwame Nami-Ntanyako, the parliamentary candidate for the Cape Coast North constituency. So we are here, about 150 of the party supporters clad in red, drumming and dancing all day. They say that they still stand with their parliamentary candidate. They want the right thing to be done by the Electoral Commission. And so they are waiting for some consequential orders from the headquarters, and then they will know what their fate is.
So apart from the EC officials in the region telling them that they need a written word or a written report to be sent to Accra for the necessary action to be taken, what else have they said to these supporters who have massed up at their premises?
Well, so they said that initially, the demand, a lot of the supporters were demanding the card. So the card was eventually given the parliamentary candidate. Okay. But the parliamentary candidate, after going through the situation, he found out that that card cannot be used for anything. Okay. It is as if that he has not being given any card because his name is not on the voters list.
Yeah, I think that's what you explained earlier. So what it means is that as it stands, nothing has changed by way of response from the Electoral Commission.
So they want the Electoral Commission to carry out the court order by registering him. So as to how the registration is going to be done, the Electoral Commission headquarters would have to bring clarity on that matter.
Is there security presence as well, seeing that this is a group of people who have massed up at a particular place?
A heavy one. A short while ago, the constituency electoral officer, the Cape Coast Metropolis electoral officer, wanted to leave the premises of the Electoral Commission, but was prevented by the party supporters here. So the police had to call in a reinforcement team to come to enable him move out of the EC offices and go to his office. And so the security situation here is top-notch. They brought a lot of the men here to ensure that everything is done according to due process, and everything will be sanitized here.
Richard, thank you very much for that update. Richard Kojonyako, the Central Regional Correspondent, bringing us up to speed on that parliamentary candidate for that constituency who has now received his card but has rejected it on the grounds that he still thinks that his details in the system of the Electoral Commission disqualifies him, and that might make it difficult for him to file for the nominations. Now, a local chairman of the New Patriotic Party at the Zangum near Walewale in the Northeast region has threatened to lead a campaign to vote against the party if the government fails to repair the road to the community before the 2020 elections. Mohammed Salifu is demanding the NPP government to fix the 6-kilometer Zangum-Walewale road, which according to him has been in a deplorable state or risk losing their votes. Eliasu Tanko reports.
Already in poor state, the onset of the rains coincided with the spillage of the Bagri Dam have left several major roads across the region flooded, littered with potholes, and impossible for lorries and trucks to traverse. According to residents in the area, poor state of the Zangum-Walewale road was causing lots of unimaginable suffering to them as they are unable to transport their goods and seek essential public services at the municipal capital. The residents say they are always compelled to organize communal labor to put the road into good shape whenever the situation gets out of hand and traveling on the road is impossible. They add that the nature of the road has caused several accidents to motorists and affected economic activities in the area. Now they say they are tired and need government to pay immediate attention to fixing the road or risk losing their votes. Here is the local chairman of the ruling party.
The same can Sam the Sahawa or can ya grabble.
This road has been in bad state for a long time after it was gravelled during the time of Honorable Nabila Suleiman. It has since been in this deplorable state throughout the period of Atamils, John, up to Nana, and still there's none to rescue us. They continue to promise us. So I, Chairman Sochira, have already informed them at the district assembly that MPP will only win if the road is fixed. If the road is not fixed, MPP will lose here.
In politics. So my male, cable male,
other residents also spoke to JoyNews.
If looking at this, the road is just about 5 kilometers, not even up to 5 kilometers from here to Walewale. So, in fact, it's a very big headache to us, to the community. Myself, I was attacked by armed robbers because I can't move. The road is sandy. When it is in the dry season, it's sandy. You can't even move. So we are appealing to the authority to do something about the road. Otherwise, the community people are agitating to do demonstration.
And up to this stage, the road is still very poor and bad. So even this year, we are looking, the community as a whole, we are looking at it in such a way that if they don't look at our situation and come to our aid, then we will not even vote for them, because it's like they always come for their food. Whenever they get their power, they will go away and abandon and forget about it. Our own vice president, they are not looking at how to construct the road for us. So what's the essence of we voting for them? That is our concern. They should look at our road. If not, this year we will not vote for them.
However, in response, the municipal chief executive for the area explained the contractor left site due to the flooding situation.
It has been awarded by the Urban Roads Directorate. Then the contractor is supposed to move to site. They were supposed to move to site last week, but because of the heavy rains, the place was too muddy that the contractor couldn't have moved. Now that the rains are now subsiding, our prayer is that by the close of the month, we should have some good atmosphere where contractors can move in. Not only Walewale to Zangum, Zangum to Zango to Wungu is also on progress. That one will be a reshaping by federals, and it has also been awarded. Almost all the roads within the municipality, especially the major ones that are giving us challenges, the rain has exposed the roads to us, and we have seen that we have to move in and move in quickly, and that is what we are planning for. As we speak, if you take Bugia to Boakodu, if the road is no more trouble, it has also been awarded. That one is under the SEPI project, and then they are also going to gravel it. They have to do some culverts around that area so that we can solve the problem of no more trouble.
Elias Sutanko reporting for Joy News.
Member of Parliament for the Dom Kwabenya constituency, Sarah Adwoa-Safo, is vowing to localize the promises made by the NPP in its 2020 manifesto within her constituency. The legislator, who also doubles as a Minister of State in charge of procurement, has been assuring her constituents of her commitment to implement far-reaching policies to bolster development in the constituency in the area of infrastructure and human capital. Speaking at an event launch to launch her 2020 manifesto, Adwoa-Safo stressed that the next 4 years under leadership of President Akufo-Addo will see an extension of his vision.
Kukudu, that is our first victory. That tells you that we need to go out in our numbers and vote for Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo and for Adwoa-Safo to continue the good works that we've done for the people of Dome Kwabenya and the people of Ghana. Kukudu, we have done a lot when it comes to roads. We have done a lot when it comes to education. We have done a lot when it comes to market infrastructure. We've done a lot when it comes to health, and name it, sports, youth empowerment, and women empowerment. This is a party that believes in the youth, and this is a party that believes in women. We believe that the future is with our youth, and that is why we want to educate every child, to give every child that dream of becoming an important person in this society and to contribute to our socio-economic development. I strongly believe that with a visionary leader like Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, with a God-sent Messiah like Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, we are continuing to transform Ghana, and we will put Ghana on a different level, and it will come with the battle ahead of us. And we strongly believe, and we still believe, that the battle is the Lord's. So, as a new era for this constituency, I know other constituencies will follow suit. Let's be dynamic. This election rests on dynamism and vision. We cannot leave the manifesto to hang the way it's hanging. Every constituency needs to localize that manifesto that was launched by the president and take it down to our local people. Let it be relevant and important and realistic to them. And that is what will give us the votes. Our strength is the Lord. And as Psalm 27 says, the Lord is my strength and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? The Lord is my stronghold. And who shall I be afraid of? God will give us victory 2020, and I believe that Honorable Sarah Adwoa-Safo will deliver to the people of Dome Kwabenya. Thank you, and God bless Dome Kwabenya. God bless our homeland, Ghana.
From elections to policy and from education to health, the multimedia group's influence has been felt everywhere in Ghana. The company has over the years dedicated a lot of airtime to stories that bring change to the lives of ordinary people and the community. Today, we're unveiling an official cloth as part of the celebration of 25 years of impactful journalism. My colleague Fifi Kumsin has highlights of a documentary detailing this impact.
The multimedia group has over the years established itself as a fiercely independent voice, speaking truth to power, reporting and exposing corruption in public institutions.
It's not about us. It is about the people.
That's not all. Our audience and communities are our anchor and the reason we operate. A lot of airtime on the various platforms of the group are dedicated to human interest stories. Stories that bring change in the lives of ordinary people.
Nice food to eat. She'll be very happy.
The company has done stories with far-reaching impact on the people.
To be locked away, it is a difficult thing, but the worst thing of all is to be locked away and to be forgotten.
Prison reforms as a result of a series of documentaries by JoyNews, Locked and Forgotten and Left to Rot.
The message I bring you today is that you're not forgotten, and I've seen with my own two eyes what I have heard many a time about the conditions in our prisons.
A new mother and baby unit for the Komfo-Anokye Teaching Hospital, following a JoyNews documentary, Next to Die.
The Ashanti region. It's near a forest known as Abofo. And my brother, Ohim tells me, as I spoke to him last night, he told me a very sad story. A story of people living in a community where there's no potable drinking water. The village has also been overtaken by black flies. I'll take you to a...
Many boreholes built by our partners across the country, following stories highlighted by the JoyNews Safe Water Project.
This is when you take the brand Joy. It's been interpreted as Jesus first, others second, and yourself third. Yes, we don't do what we do for ourselves. We serve the community, and we also live in the community. So the community's interests at all times is what we seek to push and advance. So those are the core values on which the multimedia business and brands have been built.
The multimedia group's influence has not been felt in these areas only. The company has established itself by far as the most trusted source of election information, diligently covering every election and accurately projecting the final outcome since 1996.
Let's start with the permutations for President John Dramani Mahama. There are 69 constituencies to go, with a registered voter population we know now of 3,827,081. Now, at the current average turnout of 68%, this translates into 2,652,483 votes. For President Mahama to reach 5.3 million, he needs 1,598,355 votes. We therefore project it is almost statistically impossible for President John Dramani Mahama to achieve 50% plus one. Our projection is that Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo will win the 2016 presidential election.
Governments over the years have often criticized the group as one championing an agenda against them.
I would say the beauty around that is you don't hear it only from one divide or one side. You know, you hear it from one party. Let's put them as a political party, and you hear it also from another political party. Now, if in this case the two largest parties both say you are biased, then it means that you are not necessarily pushing anybody's interest per se. Why would you be biased, or why would we be biased? We are not. We don't set out from home, come here in the morning, run the whole day and say we're going to advance a certain agenda against one party or another.
For many people, like Samira Baumia, wife of the Vice President, Dr. Mahmoud Baumia, and Imani Africa President, Franklin Kujo, who have both been part of our loyal audience for years, this is a good sign.
I think
every government has had issue with you at some point, so it must say something. But it's not necessarily a negative thing. It may be because you're doing your job and it may make people uncomfortable. But it could also be that in certain instances some lines were crossed. But I think so far it's been healthy. You've provided a platform for people to express themselves, share their opinions, share their views, their visions with the public. Myself, the first time I met you was when I came onto your show, and that was before we were in power and we were in opposition. And at the time, you provided that opportunity for all sides to come on and speak. So it's a testament to your commitment to working in the space, the democracy space, advancing democracy. So it's not just about the people in power, but it's everybody who aspires to be in power. What is your message? How do we put it out there for the benefit of the people?
Some extracts from the documentary Multimedia, the Impact Story, set for broadcast tomorrow at 2 p.m. Here on this channel. Meanwhile, some of your favorite people have been here for years, have been sharing their experiences here. My colleague Manuel Kranting has been interacted with some of the big names behind the big stories we tell.
Multimedia is 25, and you can see George Addo Jr., the guys taking nice, beautiful pictures in commemoration of that big day. Today we're, unveiling our cloth. You can see what I'm wearing. And George, I can join them to take a quick one here. Yeah. We could all show that those 5 fingers, say cheese. Yes. So George, let me start with you. George, what's been the story? What's the joy story for you?
I think it's been a story that I've been living to learn a lot about, really. As a young man, I listened to Joy FM. Through my days at JoyNews, I hope to be here one day, and I find myself here, and I'm happy to be part of the story. So I'm just so excited about having this wonderful anniversary, 25 years, with what we've been able to give to our listeners and our viewers, but more importantly, what we can do going on in the next years. We are hoping to give you even more and give our very best. It's such a wonderful time.
Such a wonderful time. Well, didn't we all wish to be here at one point at university? Great. What's your story? George said that, in his days at the University of Ghana, he was wishing and hoping to be here. He got here eventually, and that's it for him.
It's the same path. I'm so excited. So, it's so amazing to be part of this joy. 25 good years is not easy. To be a part of Multimedia Group Limited, you will learn a lot. We have learned a lot. I myself, particularly, have learned a lot, and I'm hoping to learn more and to, give more to our viewers and listeners. We love you all. It's 25 years. We have joy. We are so much grateful for, being with us all the time. Thank you so much. We love you.
Thank you so much. We love you. It's all joy here at Joy. We're trying to get into, we're going to try and get into the studio. They're live, and so we're still a few seconds with them. But I'm seeing Nathaniel Atto, that, amazing voice behind the microphone. And I'm going to talk to him quite briefly and find out what the story has been for him, Nathaniel Atto, all these years, being at the Multimedia Group. Nat, good morning.
Hey, great.
How's it going?
Been good.
What, 25?
Yeah, 25. Sometimes I try to subtract that from my age and try to,
when you look back, what's changed?
A lot. We've evolved over the years. Some of the names and faces that, used to be here are not here anymore. Some are still here. And what is important is that as a group as well, we've expanded in terms of the offering to, the audience and our clients out there. And I think it's great. Of course, at this stage of our lives, we're zoning in more on the digital focus, and of course we've positioned ourselves very well. And as for the stories, there are a trillion of them to share. I don't know which of them to focus on, but it's
definitely. But maybe before I leave you, which particular story of yours at Joy, but you keep coming each single day, what keeps you going, and what that story that when any day from today you look back and say, that was the day for me at Joy?
Look, 3 billion from the days when I used to go on the radio at least like 4 times a day doing different things, from the headline news through to entertainment news and sport and everything, to covering big stories and stories of social impact way back. I remember once I had to cover a story from a morgue, from the Kolibu morgue. A boxer had died for 3 days, and he was found out after 3 days, and so you can imagine the extent of damage or the decay of the body and everything. And I had to do a stand-up radio report from there. The next morning when it was played back, I mean, people were like, wow, this is, I got a lot of feedback. And that day as well, it made me reflect a lot on life and the whole essence of life and how we must all appreciate our being here at this time and how we must appreciate the gift of life as well. And so, I mean, in terms of the stories, that 3 billion of them, maybe we should do a whole special episode with me.
Sit and talk about these stories.
Yeah, exactly.
Talking about that mock story, I don't envy you at all. I'm going to try and quickly, enter, but I'm seeing the man Lexis Bill. Lexis Bill is going to talk to me. Yo. What's happening?
I'm good, brother. How are you?
25 years. I'm good. I hope you're doing good too. You had to wake up very early and come here.
I had to, but it's exciting, of course, seeing everybody here on a lovely day like this. Look, we're doing it for our partners, our discerning listeners. We love you guys, and that's why we do this, yeah?
Absolutely. We want to hear from you. I mean, you keep coming every single day. At 3 p.m. we are hearing Lexis on Drive Time and all. What's that story that keeps you going?
Listen, when you meet people who are excited about what you do, who are energized by you on the radio to listen to you, and they're like, oh my goodness, I love this guy, and I love what he does and all of that, it inspires you to do more. It makes you want to keep going. So for me, it's the joy that I see on the faces of my listeners and the people who listen to me, the messages that they send in, knowing that they are happy with what you're doing. It just keeps you going. So for me, that's what motivates me. That's what makes me excited about what I do, and that's why I'm going to keep doing it.
Absolutely. It's the joy of the listeners that keeps us going here at Joy. I'm going to run into the studio. Thanks you so much, Alexis. I'm going to run into the studio quickly and get you some reactions from in studio. They're live on the Super Morning Show this morning. And before that, I'm seeing the man himself, Winston Amwa. Good morning.
Good morning.
How's it going?
We're managing. We're doing well. We're in a celebrative mood. Everything is going on well.
Absolutely. Well, you've been here for, a while, not too long, but really, what's that difference here at Joy?
Well, the difference for me is the adherence to professionalism and showing excellence and also sticking to standards. It's very important in all that you do. So you must be professional. There's always a talk about speed, but you must be credible and you must be ethical and always ensure that you achieve excellence. And that's one thing that we do here, which makes me very excited to be part of this team.
Great. So professionalism and keeping to the standards. That's the man, Winston Amwa, co-host of the Super Morning Show. Big man. What's the action?
Yeah, everything is fine.
You're kind of slow this morning. What's happening?
We're not slow.
What, 25 years?
Yes, photos. So.
Okay. I could join and take those first set of photos. Maybe the camera guy can just get here and take us some pictures. But while we are at that, though, you've been here for a while. Tell me about your story.
Yeah, in fact, my story is a very lengthy one. If I'm trying to tell them now.
Almost everybody has a lengthy story here.
Lengthy one. No, I have a very lengthy story. Because I've been with
Yours lengthy Pro Max.
Yes. Because I've been with this company for quite a long time.
How long though?
I started as a reporter. Okay. And then I was put from Eastern Region when I was working with Eastern FM to join Asempa FM. I was working with Adom FM and then Joy FM as well. I was a correspondent from the Eastern Region. I used to run commentary from Kedi Hospice Stadium at Kedi and then from Nkoko Sports Stadium for Joy FM. That time we had Yawampo Franca, Eva Ochre and the likes. Yeah, so I've been. So when I tell you that it's a lengthy story,
it's really a lengthy story.
It's a very lengthy story. So,
but these days stuff are evolving. You have digital space, social media, and everything. We're still trying to compete. How do you do that? Keeping the standards on radio, on TV, and still keeping the standards on digital platforms.
Yeah, keeping the standard on digital platforms is becoming a bit difficult because in fact the things that change are not the most professional things that people would like to. Yeah, so it's becoming a little bit difficult, but we're still amalgamating both of them to get what our audience wants. Yes, very good.
Absolutely. Good talking to you. I'll come back to you.
Congratulations to all of us and for our service to humanity. Let's do sports right after this.
Gary L. Smith here with the sports. Hi, thank you for your time, and we are still celebrating 25 years and our anniversary. How do I look? I'm sure you'll be seeing more of us wearing this throughout the day. Also, we are expecting the national team coach, that's the Black Stars coach, Charles Akono, to name his squad for the friendly against Mali. Remember that Ghana was supposed to play Mali and Equatorial Guinea, but as of this morning, we got official communication that the Equatorial Guineans had pulled out of their friendly. So as we speak, we understand that the GFA are streaming that naming of the squad live. However, let me speak to Seydou Adamu, my colleague journalist who is on Zoom right now, to pick his mind on what he thinks will be the nature of the squad that will be named. Seydou, if you are there, thank you very much and good afternoon. I think you're muted, Seydou. Yes, good. You're here with us. So what do you think? It's being streamed right now, I believe, but what do you expect in terms of the squad naming?
Well, I expect one or two surprises. It's obvious there would be any local component of the team. Taking into consideration, we've had 7 months of no football in Ghana. So the initial 3 players that were included in the match collapse, 4 players will likely not have opportunity to be in the team again. Talk of Richard Atta of Hearts of Oak, Habib Mohamed, Asante Kotoko, Yaya Mohamed of Ghana Stars, and also Kodwa Mwakun of Ashanti Gold. These players will obviously not have the opportunity to be in this team to play against Mali. Beside this, you are looking at the usual suspects. You are looking at the likes of Baba Ibrisu, Kudus Mohamed, who's been fantastic in his first game against Ayas. You're also looking at the likes of Jordan Ayew. Even though he's not scored in this season, he's been very good or fantastic in this season for Crystal Palace. I'm looking at 1 or 2 inclusions, the likes of Bernard Mensah. He's been very good over that period. He moved to Besiktas and he's had some very good games. Beyond that, I feel like Jeffrey Shops should return to the team. Samuel Owusu should also be in the team, and probably because we don't have any goalkeeper aside Richard Ofori, who's been active in South Africa. Probably Lawrence Ziggy of St. Gallen should fill in the shoes of Richard Atta.
Nice one. Now, to what extent do you think that the fact that Equatorial Guinea pulled out of the game will affect the preparations?
Well, I guess it's really going to affect CK's preparation, especially when he's got the first opportunity to test his team since he took over the Black Stars. You know, his first game, which was supposed to be against Sudan, was cancelled in March. And so after almost 9 months of taking the team, he's not had the opportunity to test his skills as the head coach of the team. So this would have been a perfect opportunity to test the entire squad, because I guess he's going to call a 21-man squad. And so 2 games would have been proper for him to test the entire squad. But then there's nothing much he could do. So I think he should. I don't know the details of this game, whether it's proper friendly where you have the usual 3 substitution, or is the usual friendly where he's got the opportunity to have 6 substitution. If he's got the opportunity to have 6 substitution, then he would have the opportunity to test about 15 or 16 of his players. Beyond that, it would be a big blow for him not to play these 2 matches.
Beautiful. So we're just checking to see if the ceremony, not the ceremony, the naming has started on Facebook. We'll try and pull that up for, yep, that is the live stream from the Ghana Football Association. As you know, this current GFA are very digitally savvy, and so they operate what they call a GFA News, where the GFA's own TV station, you know, to come out with official announcements and things like that, so that they control the flow of information. I think the squad naming has not begun, but the stream has started, and so as soon as the squad naming is in progress, we'll let you know on our various social media handles, and if we're on air when it comes, we'll let you know as well. But let's go back to Seydou. So you've spoken about a couple of things, Seydou, but what kind of football do you expect from CK Akono? Briefly, very briefly.
Well, let me admit that I have been a fan of CK Akono's style of play. He's the type that goes very aggressive in the first 15 minutes of every match. And if you have followed him when he was at House of Folk, Ashanti Gold, Kumasi Asante Kotoko, he does his business in the first 15 minutes. Then the rest is to protect the goals. I expect him to translate that into the senior national team, where he gives excitement to the fans in the first 15 minutes. No D3, no surprises. if he goes into the national team with this approach, for me, I think he would be able to, I mean, unquote, bring back the lab, where people would have that trust in him that at least in the first 20 minutes, he's got to do his business. So I expect him to do what we call that aggressive type of ball he's been doing with his club football, House of Oak, Ashanti Gold, Maras and Protocol, mixed with a bit of aggro football. In fact, he's mentioned that he would always want to play aggro football. And I mean, you know, Ghana football is synonymous with aggro football. So I expect him to go that aggressive, coupled or mixed with some few aggro style of play.
That said, do we have the players to execute this kind of football as a brand?
That's the most important question. I think at this stage it's very difficult to say we have those kind of players, because if you look at our midfield today, we would have Bernard Mensah, we would have Thomas Partey, we would have Kudus Mohamed, we would have Samuel Owusu on the wings, Andre Ayew. Beyond Samuel Owusu, Andre Ayew, who have flair in terms of their appreciation of how to use the ball. The rest are a bit stiff, let me use that word. And for me, it will be very difficult for him to get that style of playing. You know, in Kumasi and Ikotoko, he had Kwame Bonsu, he had Augustine Okra, he had Kwame Boahin. These are players who could use the ball to do anything he likes for him. But translate that to the national team, and for me, the most flamboyant player probably will be Samuel Owusu, who could use the ball to do whatever he wants to do. So it will be for CP Akron to be able to turn things around, to be able to get the players to play to his satisfaction. Because for me, Thomas Partey, Baba Idrisu, Alfred Duncan are not that type of players who could use the ball to freely do what they want. I have heard snipers of information that he wants to bring in Leonard Owusu, who is also a very good handler of the ball. His inclusion could give us that flair nature. I've also heard Emmanuel Lomote coming into the team, and these are players who could use the ball to, juggle around and make fans enjoy the game. If indeed they come into the game and they fit into a starting lineup, trust me, he should be able to get that style of play. Nice one.
Thank you very much, Seydou Adamu. I appreciate your time. He's a colleague journalist, and the GFA gave us 4:30 as when the squad naming will be done. The stream has started, but the list is not out yet, so I suppose that it should be done pretty shortly. Please stay tuned on my JoyOnline.com sports page, our Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram feeds as well. We'll let you know when the squad is named. Gary Al-Smith here with the sport.
It's been a good week. I hope it's been for you, and I wish you a very good weekend. Do have fun, enjoy yourself. But let's talk showbiz. Is how we wrap the show up. My name is Gifty Ando Apia. I'll leave you with that, but there is more news at myjoyonline.com if you do log on.